In the early morning hours of 1870s Ohio, an Amish beekeeper walked his apiary. He stopped at each hive for a few minutes. Sometimes he crouched and looked at the entrance. Sometimes he simply observed from a distance. He never put on gloves. He never lit a smoker. He never pulled a frame. And by the end of that morning, he knew which colony was preparing to swarm, which had gone queenless, which was under varroa pressure, and which was working the nectar flow at full capacity. The place he gathered that information was not the inside of the hive. It was the entrance. And that entrance was always telling him everything he needed to know about the colony behind it. Modern beekeeping instruction has systematically taught beekeepers to look past this entrance, to treat it as a threshold to cross, rather than a source of information to read. The result is a generation of beekeepers who spend 45 minutes inside a hive collecting information that the entrance was already offering for free in 8 minutes, without disturbing a single frame, without triggering a defensive response, and without interrupting the colony's biological rhythms at the most sensitive point of the inspection process. The foundation of the Amish entrance reading practice was a precise understanding of what forager behavior at the entrance reveals about the colony's internal state, an understanding built not from scientific literature, but from the accumulated observation of beekeepers who watched the same entrances every morning across entire careers, and noticed the patterns that preceded every significant colony event. The first and most fundamental signal was forager departure timing and density. On a morning when conditions were suitable for flight, temperature above 50 degrees, no rain, light wind, a healthy colony in active foraging mode showed a specific departure pattern that the experienced Amish beekeeper recognized immediately. A steady, continuous stream of forager departures beginning within the first 30 to 60 minutes after sunrise, with returning foragers already visible before the departure stream had fully established. This pattern told the beekeeper three things simultaneously. The colony had an active and functional queen, whose pheromone signals were maintaining normal forager motivation. The colony had adequate food stores to support the metabolic cost of forager flight in the morning cool. And the foraging area surrounding the apiary was currently providing nectar or pollen at a level sufficient to motivate departure. The absence of this pattern on a suitable morning, foragers present at the entrance but not departing, or departing in reduced numbers compared to adjacent colonies, was the first signal that something inside the hive had changed. Not a crisis, not a certainty, a signal that warranted closer entrance observation for the next 2 or 3 mornings before any intervention was considered. The second signal system the Amish beekeeper read at the entrance was pollen load frequency and color, two variables that together provided a real-time picture of the colony's brood rearing status and the forage landscape's current productivity. Bees do not carry pollen unless the colony is actively rearing brood. The physiological signal that drives foragers to collect pollen is the demand from nurse bees who require pollen protein to produce the brood food that feeds developing larvae. A colony that has stopped brood rearing because the queen has been lost, because the colony has swarmed and the replacement queen is not yet laying, or because the colony has entered its winter brood break, shows a specific entrance signal. Nectar foragers returning normally, pollen foragers absent or dramatically reduced. This signal is visible at the entrance in seconds. A beekeeper who watches 30 returning foragers during a 2-minute observation period and sees no pollen loads among them on a day when adjacent colonies are showing heavy pollen return has identified a colony that is not rearing brood at a normal rate. The diagnosis is not certain from this signal alone. A temporary pollen dearth can produce the same pattern, but the signal is specific enough to warrant monitoring for confirmation before any intervention. The color of the pollen loads provided additional information. Experienced Amish beekeepers developed the ability to identify forage plant species by pollen color. The pale yellow of willow in February, the bright orange of dandelion in April, the white of clover in June, the deep gold of goldenrod in August. By reading pollen color at the entrance, the beekeeper confirmed which plants the foragers were working on any given morning, providing a continuous, real-time map of the forage landscape without leaving the apiary. The third signal system, and the one the Amish beekeeper considered most urgent when it appeared, was the behavior of bees at the entrance that indicated disease or parasite pressure. The entrance is not simply a traffic observation point. It is also the colony's waste disposal and removal site, the location where undertaker bees deposit dead and dying members, where sick larvae are removed from the brood nest, and where bees whose flight capacity has been compromised by disease or parasitic damage attempt to leave and cannot return. A beekeeper who crouches at the entrance level and observes the landing board and the immediate ground below it for 2 minutes on a regular morning inspection is reading the colony's health status in real time. Bees with deformed wing virus, the primary virus transmitted by varroa mites, are identifiable at the entrance by their characteristic wing posture and their inability to achieve flight. They emerge from the hive, fall from the landing board, and crawl in the grass below the entrance. A count of crawling bees below the entrance is one of the most sensitive early indicators of elevated varroa load available to a beekeeper, detectable weeks before the mite population reaches the threshold that produces visible colony decline. Dead larvae being carried out by undertaker bees and deposited on the landing board or the ground below it indicated brood disease. The color, texture, and developmental stage of the removed larvae provided information about the specific disease, a diagnosis that required no laboratory and no equipment, only the accumulated observational knowledge of what healthy, removed larvae look like compared to those removed in response to American foul brood, chalk brood, or sac brood. The Amish beekeeper who bent to examine what was being carried out of the hive was reading a diagnostic report that the colony had prepared without being asked. The fourth signal, and the one that required the most accumulated experience to read correctly, was guard bee behavior. Every healthy colony maintains a population of guard bees at the entrance, experienced older workers whose role is to inspect incoming bees for colony membership and to challenge approaching threats. The character of this guard behavior is not constant. It varies with the colony's internal state in specific ways that the experienced beekeeper can read from several feet away without approaching close enough to trigger a defensive response. A queen-right colony in normal productive activity shows a specific guard posture. 1 to 3 guard bees stationed at the entrance corners, antennae active, inspecting incoming foragers, but not challenging them aggressively, allowing the forager traffic to flow without interruption. The guards are alert but relaxed, fulfilling their inspection role without the heightened activation that indicates internal stress. A queenless colony shows a different guard pattern. Typically, more guards at the entrance than normal, their antennae working more rapidly, their posture more elevated and forward-leaning. The queenless pheromone signal that propagates through the colony when queen mandibular pheromone is absent produces a measurable change in worker agitation that expresses itself at the entrance in a guard behavior the experienced observer can distinguish from the normal pattern at 20 feet. A colony preparing to swarm shows the most distinctive guard pattern of all. Guards present in normal numbers, but the larger, unusual population of idling foragers behind them. The guard bees seeming to manage a crowd rather than a normal traffic flow. Their orientation responses disrupted by the density and stillness of the bees they are standing in front of. The Amish beekeeper who read this combination, normal guard count, abnormal crowd behind them, had identified a colony approaching swarm threshold without opening the hive, without disturbing the colony, and with enough time remaining in the biological sequence to execute the controlled split before the swarm decision became irreversible. The fifth and final signal system the Amish beekeeper read at the entrance was seasonal in character, a set of behavioral changes that marked the transitions between the colony's major biological phases and told the experienced observer exactly where in its annual cycle each colony currently sat. The most practically important of these seasonal signals was the propolis behavior in early autumn. As temperatures began to drop consistently in September and October, a healthy colony preparing correctly for winter showed a specific entrance modification behavior. Guard bees and house bees working propolis into the entrance gap, progressively reducing the entrance size from the summer configuration to the winter configuration without any intervention from the beekeeper. A colony performing this behavior on schedule confirmed 2 things simultaneously. It had an active queen whose pheromone signals were organizing the colony's winter preparation behavior, and it had a workforce large enough and healthy enough to execute that preparation. A colony that was not showing entrance reduction behavior on the same schedule as its neighbors in the same apiary in early October was a colony whose winter preparation was behind, possibly because of varroa-induced nurse bee depletion, possibly because of a queen issue that had disrupted the normal pheromone signals, possibly because the workforce was too depleted to perform the propolis work alongside its other autumn tasks. None of these possibilities required a frame inspection to identify as a concern. The entrance told the beekeeper the colony was behind schedule. The frame inspection, if warranted, confirmed the specific cause. The Amish management philosophy was built on this sequence: entrance reading first, frame inspection only when the entrance identified a specific question that required an interior answer. The 8-minute morning round was not a substitute for frame inspection. It was a triage system that determined which colonies required frame inspection and which did not, applied every morning across the entire apiary, before a single frame was ever pulled. The practical implementation of the Amish 8-minute entrance reading protocol requires no special equipment, no purchased diagnostic tool, and no training beyond a commitment to performing the observation consistently at the correct time of day across enough consecutive mornings to build the pattern recognition that makes the signals readable. The correct time is morning, specifically the first 2 hours after sunrise during the active season. This is the window in which forager departure behavior is most diagnostic. A colony that should be departing actively at 7 in the morning but is not is showing a signal that would be invisible at noon, when departure patterns are less informative about the colony's internal state. The correct distance for the initial observation is 10 to 15 feet, far enough to observe the entrance behavior without entering the colony's defensive zone, close enough to read forager departure density, guard bee posture, and entrance crowd character. A second pass at 2 to 3 feet provides the ground-level observation of crawling bees and landing board deposits. The correct duration is 90 seconds per hive for a colony showing no anomalous signals, long enough to observe 30 returning foragers and assess their pollen load frequency and guard bee posture, short enough to complete an 8-hive apiary in under 15 minutes, including the ground-level pass at each entrance. A colony showing an anomalous signal receives additional observation time, 2 to 3 minutes of closer attention to confirm the signal and assess its character, before the beekeeper decides whether a frame inspection is warranted. The Amish beekeeper who performed this round every morning did not perform it as a substitute for frame inspection. He performed it as a filter, a daily triage that identified which colonies were functioning normally and could be left undisturbed, and which had shown a signal at the entrance that warranted the more invasive investigation of a frame inspection. Most mornings, most colonies showed nothing anomalous. Most mornings, no hive was opened. The entrance reading reduced unnecessary inspections to near zero and directed necessary inspections with a precision that 45-minute routine frame inspections could never match.